Cheers, mate. Oh, it's supposed to be my night off. Oh, fine then, fucking hell. You're right. So I'm going to be sifting through Netflix tonight. I'm going to go through loads of different things. I've got a huge list of shows and films. Not like it's one piece of paper, but quite a lot. I'm going to be doing this over the course of 5 nights, and it's Monday night tonight. I'm going to be doing it on this and through to Friday night. Essentially, I'm doing this because I want to cut out that time in your life that you spend searching for good shows or films, but never actually watching anything. I'm not really too familiar with all the stuff on Netflix. I just see so much shit put on there all the time. I'm curious just to see what is on there and what it's like. So this is going to be fun for me too. There's loads of stuff to check out. There's more. I'm going to go with the more new stuff first. I'm not going to be watching entire films or entire TV series. I'm going to be like an episode there, half an hour of this film here, 45 minutes of this film here. Kind of like what you do, except I'm just doing that. I'm absorbing all of that wasted time, essentially. Oh, and I got some pizza as well. I think this will be fun. I just want to say before I start that there'll be a lot of normies watching this, and that is okay. You're not a bad person. But essentially, you might find certain shows I rip into actually good, and you just have to be aware that if I don't like something, it doesn't mean you won't like it. There are probably going to be things which I won't condone for people to watch, but if you want to watch it, fair enough. This is kind of recommendational sort of thing, but I'm also trying to encourage you to watch the good shit, like the really good shit, because there is a lot of classic films on Netflix that I know about that do deserve more attention than certain shit I'm looking at now, probably. Yeah, so should we get going? I might turn some of these lights off, actually. There's a lot of lights on. I need to get them to... Honestly, that pizza's been there for fucking ages because I've been setting all this up. It is a bit weird having this massive light on, because usually when I watch films like this at this time of night, I don't have all this shit on. Alright, so the first one I'm going to start with... Fucking shut up! I'm going to start with The Trial of Chicago 7. I can't even pronounce Chicago right. There's no structure to this, because I'm just fucking around. Fucking shut up.
Pizza time.
I've got pyjama leggings on, which I wouldn't usually have on, because I want to spare you from my bloody hairy ass legs if in case they ever get into frame. I'm not even listening. I should just say, you're not paying attention, right? I believe this is Aaron Sorkin who wrote this. He's a very talented writer who writes a lot of good screenplays. I don't know who directed this. I don't even know if Aaron Sorkin did it, but he wrote Social Network. Didn't direct. That was Fincher. Social Network's an excellent movie. I think everyone here watching has seen that probably. Aaron Sorkin, I mean, just because I hear if his name is attached to something, it doesn't mean it get me automatically excited. So I don't know what to expect. It's going to be well written, but I don't know about the rest of it. I know it's got Eddie Redmayne in. I don't think I've watched a single film with Eddie Redmayne up to this point. I'll watch the first 30 minutes, I think, because that's kind of what people do. They watch a bit. I don't want to get into like spoiler territory. I'm going to be stuttering a lot. One thing I will say about this film so far, the opening sequence was really well edited. No, I mean, it's just, I don't know barely anything about American politics, but I do recognise that they're showing all these different sides very cleverly, and like the cutting's cool, you know. It's not something, the editing, it's not like a style, it's new, but it's something, it's entertained me so far. I'm not even barely listening because I've been freaking out making sure everything's working, but I'll take that into account. I won't be like, oh, I don't know what's going on. I'm a fucking idiot, and I'll take that into account. So it's an English guy doing an American accent, which automatically makes it an excellent performance. So I'm just excited to see more. And a lot of good actors like him, bald guy. I suck with political movies. This is a bad first choice. It's better. This is fucking disgusting. I'm sure by the end of the story we'll all learn something very profound. That racism is just no good. It is 11:05, 30 minutes in. You know, just a lot of dickheads, racist. Reminds me
You
a
don't think there's going to be a big audience?
bit of Black Klansman. Obviously, it's a good period piece. Got on that well. That guy's a little cartoonish, even for who he's supposed to be portraying.
How did you do that? Experience.
Like fucking Bill and Ted. It literally is just like Bill and Ted. I don't know much about politics, but I have seen a lot of political period piece movies about America. It does seem to kind of fit that mold. I'm not saying it's formulaic. I'm just trying to think of a quick verdict so I can move on. Lots of good actors, lots of solid actors. It's obviously one of the bigger Netflix films. With these true story films, I feel like regardless if they're great or just serviceable, most people like them. So if you're watching, you'll probably like this if you're into your historical, political, racial issues, sort of period pieces, those films. I don't know, because there's so many true story films, and there's a lot of laziness when it comes to true story films, because they just kind of go off the story themselves and don't do anything clever with it or present it in a unique way. They just kind of show it, and that's really it. They don't really add any good bits of filmmaking or storytelling. There's a lot of true story films I kind of skip, and this doesn't seem like one I'd rush to. Ugh, fucking critic. I think a lot of people are like this. Probably a lot of people have seen this already because it's been out for a while, because I'm late. I'm fucking really late. Most of the acting's decent. I'm not really taken away by it though. Okay, I'll watch a bit more. You know, like, period piece true story films are a dime a dozen these days. But it's a continuous shot. How can you not love it?
Trial's starting. It might get easy to forget who this is about.
This is all good, like, obviously, information part of it.
Good morning.
I'm interested to see what's going to happen.
No, they dress just fine. It's alright.
And take your very scary hats off.
It's always funny just to make fun of racism. Sacha Baron Cohen's pretty good. You needed to watch this review to know that. Trial day one.
It's all gonna be a fucking trial, is it? That's a bit boring.
Bernard C. Davis, Thomas Hayden.
It's the guy from Black Mirror, isn't it? The
Mr.
polar bear episode. Good actor.
Brad.
And of course I mentioned period piece, I mentioned political film, obviously courtroom drama, that is also another thing. I think it's just going to be a really competent but fairly familiar type of those films that I just mentioned. Courtroom, all that. I keep saying the same words over and over again. I'll watch a bit of The Trial, even though trials are boring. Not everyone's doing a good performance. Okay, I think I can stop now because I need to get a drink anyway. Okay, so Trial for Chicago 7. Quick verdict. Competent film, well shot, decent cinematography, great set design, obviously, costumes and all that shit. Acting good. It looks like a very enjoyable film, fairly engaging as well. It's just, again, with true story films, there has to be a bit more than just an interesting story. Like, there was some flair there with the dialogue, obviously, but again, it's not something I would actively seek out. But looks like a pretty good film, and I'd recommend it to people who are dead into their American history and like racial issues. I've got no words because I'm fucking so politically uninformed, but yeah, all those like courtroom dramas, etc., etc. If you like the actors, you probably like them. If you know, it's a fairly normie film. There are different generations of normies. Let's say you're 15-year-old normie is like Marvel films, then also like those random horror films, those shitty horror films. Then there's like a bit older than that, you start to get to the true story films. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna go get a drink because I'm fucking really fucking thirsty. I've taken my trousers off, by the way. So, because it's just too hot. I'm just going to briefly go around Netflix, and when I see films that I have seen already, I'm just going to talk a bit about them and recommend them or whatever. Okay, so I don't know, it goes without saying with the SpongeBob movie. New SpongeBob film, I really liked it. The most recent one that was 3D animation, kind of animated claymation. I just think a very wholesome film. It's been one of my favourites so far of the year. I don't know, it's just really nice. If you really like SpongeBob, you've got to see it. Everyone involved is just so on board with the joke. It's so good. It was a really good film. Zodiac, I think a lot of people just fucking shut up. Right, so I can't hover on them because they just fucking play. You can see anyway, the Zodiac was there, and then there's The Office. Office, really funny. Wild at Heart, David Lynch film. Very weird, funny, Nick Cage performance. I'm not really sure where I stand with it. I wanted to rewatch it again. Hypnotic, weird. Still a good film. I don't really know why exactly, but yeah, it's one of the weird ones, so I'd recommend checking that out if you think it's got Nick Cage, it's going to be shit. No, he's done some good stuff in his life. But I keep having to move because it's going to fucking fuck me in the ass with these auto-playing ads. Zodiac is a very, very, very good film. Very entertaining, gripping. It's a David Fincher film. It's just really well made and edited and acted. Yeah, David Fincher's the key. If you like stuff like Gone Girl, Mindhunter, because David Fincher also worked on Mindhunter. Jake Gyllenhaal, Rob Downey Jr., and Mark Ruffalo. You've got 3 really good actors right there. It's one of the best like detective thriller things of the 2000s. Hunger, I want to rewatch it, but I do remember it being a fucking absolutely amazing film. It's a raw film by the guy who made 12 Years a Slave and Shame, if you've seen that, which is about sex addiction, both with Michael Fassbender and this one, obviously. Brilliant filmmaking involved. There's this one scene where Michael Fassbender and Liam Cunningham are acting opposite each other, and it's a 20-minute continuous conversation, like no cuts or anything, just a shot of them talking. It's so well acted. More great stuff from Michael Fassbender, proving that he's one of the best actors living today. And Liam Cunningham is also awesome, and it's a disgusting film. From what I remember, just a miserable experience, but really gets you into the mind of the characters experiencing what they're experiencing. It's about the let's tell you here's the organised. I can't remember. I don't know anything about history, but it's just people just don't eat. The people in prison, they go on hunger strike. That's all I needed to know anyway. Spirited Away. Obviously, lots of these came in April or something. Lots of Japanese anime films. Studio Ghibli. I've only watched a couple of Hayao Miyazaki. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. All of those films have been good in one way or another, but the 2 ones I've got on my list are not just considered by me, but typically considered the 2 best ones. So if you want to start down anime and you hate anime or something, or you're just not used to it, these 2 are just essential. They're just kind of essential films anyway, so do check them out. They're fucking beautiful. I'm not going to pitch stuff that's kind of really popular anyway. Ash vs Evil Dead. I tried watching this. I've watched about most of the first season. It's enjoyable for me, but I'm definitely I'd only recommend it to people who absolutely love Evil Dead, because the acting isn't very good. I mean, it's never been good in Evil Dead, but that's not been the point. But still, Bruce Campbell is the best part of the whole thing, and the others are kind of lame actors, but not in a kind of tongue-in-cheek way, just in kind of a shit way. Devil All the Time, I've spoken about that. Go watch that, my video essay on that one. Come on, where's all the good shit? It's Watching the Thick of It, pretty good. Just shit with politics, but it's a good, I won't shit on something just because I'm not like into the political side of things, because there's certain weak spots where a film is like has heavy political dialogue or something. Anything that sticks out to me in particular. Not saying if I don't talk about something it's shit, I'm just trying to. Hereditary, probably one of the best newer horror films on the site, so definitely watch that. It's no jump scares, just pure well-made horror, no manipulation, just good shit. There's this little show I like to recommend called Breaking Bad. Right, Community is a show with 3 very good seasons. The first 3 seasons are very good, very imaginative and inventive, very meta, but not in the kind of I'm self-aware, like better than Deadpool. It does come across very cheesy and American, but the level of self-awareness, they kind of deconstruct themselves as a show as they go on, and it becomes more and more loose, and an episode starts to have different styles. One's like Goodfellas, one's like an action spaghetti western. There's all sorts of cool ideas. The people who make it are just into the films. Good time. If you've seen Uncut Gems and you really liked Uncut Gems, watch this. There's 2 directors, it's the same pair. They're anxious, gritty, grisly, anxiety-fueled rides. I've said anxiety twice in this sentence. I think I prefer this to Uncut Gems in a lot of ways, but it's way more straightforward. I think it takes place under like one night really altogether. I can't really remember, but I think I've seen it twice. Very good both times. Very, very atmospheric. Quite nauseating, I guess, for some. It will cause anxiety. If you're in a really shitty mood, I think it can give you anxiety. So maybe don't watch it. I don't know. But I'd say this is also essential. That's the key word of the day, is whichever this is it essential? Because I think this is a very unique film of the last decade, of like the one that's just passed. Being John Malkovich, I mean, I talked about I'm Thinking of Ending Things very passionately in that review I did. Charlie Kaufman has not made a bad film. He's not made an unintelligent film. He's not written, because this one he just wrote. Definitely worth checking out. If you're trying to watch more unconventional films, it's definitely one to watch. I assume a lot of people have heard about it if they've started up on a watch list anyway. American Beauty, one of my favourite films of all time. A lot of film fans have American Beauty as their one of their favourite films, and I'm the same, unfortunately. I'm kind of a normie within the film society, because I just like all the shit that all the other filmmakers love. It's good, you know. I need to speed run this, but yeah, you can I find it way easy to overlook the whole Kevin Spacey thing. Black Klansman's very good, you should watch it. I'm just gonna say it's very good, you should watch it, because this is my opinion. No Country for Old Men, very good, you should watch it. Haven't seen any. American History X, as I remember, saw it years ago, fucking really good. When I did see it, it's been years. What is all this? The Conjuring, saw that. Don't need to recommend that. It's not really worth recommending. Prisoners, very good. Watch that. Detective thriller, one of the best of the last decade. Children of Men, one of the best films ever made. Fucking brilliant. Alfonso Cuarón, he directed Roma. Fucking really good. Ali G in the House is obviously essential. Handmaiden, this is one that also the filmmakers love, foreign film. It's compared to the film called The Favourite. I thought it was really good. I didn't like fall in love with it or anything. I just thought, yeah, I appreciate this is another piece of Kino. But yeah, definitely worth watching. Add that to your list. Fuck faces. Adaptation at the moment is probably my favourite film in terms of just appreciating creativity. I think it's fucking just wonderfully inventive. Watch this or I'll fucking kill you. If there are normies watching, you will not like that, because you'll be like, oh, it's all confusing. Hopefully you will. Just be a bit more open-minded. Misery, watch it. Very good thriller, Stephen King. Vertigo, bit of an old film, but definitely essential. Very well done. Might take a while to figure out why it was so revered at the time it was made, but you just have to do a bit of background check, I guess. But just one of the first character studies made in that vein. I think I've gone in a whole thing here. The Crown, I've watched the first 3 seasons of The Crown. I've enjoyed them. They're pretty good. They're not like excellent things. I just enjoy the acting. I think that's what sells me. There's just really good acting. Not like it's anything groundbreaking. Fairly inoffensive, I don't know. Wallace and Gromit, I think everyone's already seen this, but that's one of my favourite animated films. Haven't seen Corpse Bride. Sorry, you fucking edgy girls. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. If you are adventurous, watch this. Even if you're not an adventurous person, you will still be able to appreciate this anyway. Terry Gilliam directed this. Terry Gilliam, who has done a lot of good stuff over the years. He made his name doing the animation sketches, those weird paper animations for Monty Python Flying Circus. Very weird guy, disturbed guy, but brilliant comedian, brilliant comedic director. Yeah, I'd say that's essential as well. Willy Wonka, I like that. I think it's really good. I think it's really wholesome. Darkman, not essential. Sam Raimi, if you're a Sam Raimi Evil Dead fan, if you like hammy, cheesy films that are really over the top, watch it. It's similar, kind of like Spider-Man, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films with Tobey Maguire. Climax, don't watch this if you are anxious, but I'd say everyone should check this out. To be fair, I mean, it's fucked up, and people say this is the most intense film they've ever seen, and it is in a lot of ways. It's very disturbing. You should know that going in. You need to be a bit prepared for that. True Grit, not my favourite Coen Brothers film, I've got to be honest. Ballad of Buster Scruggs is much better. No Country for Old Men is much better. Of all the ones Coen Brothers films I've rewatched, that's been the weakest. Martian, don't really care for that much. Ridley Scott's kind of walks them in. Annihilation, pretty good, pretty goofy at times when it's taking itself really too seriously. Been out for 2 years. John Wick 3, I liked it, not as much as John Wick. I didn't like much of the John Wicks on the second one. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's obviously the action's sick, but it's just they still have those generic bits of dialogue that are still kind of weak ass. Schindler's List, if you've not seen it, I mean, obviously it's a must see if you still haven't gotten around to that for whatever reason. The Irishman, lots of people said, People is too long. I kind of don't give a shit for people who are like, this is too long. I think it's all it's like having a massive fucking steak. It's just full of substance. I don't really care. Martin Scorsese doing what he did when he was like 30 years younger, as well as he did. It's kind of inspiring to see, and it's the Unforgiven of those 80s, 90s Martin Scorsese gangster films. Now You See Me Too shit. Monos is one of those adrenaline thrill rides which doesn't stop. Very good showcase of war. Nothing incompetent about it. Very, very good. For whatever reason, I just wasn't captivated. I think I've just seen so many like adrenaline-fueled war films where it's all about how intense and awful it was, but yeah, I don't know. It's just Atonement though. Atonement is a very unique war film. I really like that. It's a very good script. Very good story. It's based on a book, so what did that fucking tell you? We've got another loop. How long should I do this for? This is gonna take fucking ages. Insidious, shit film. I watched Insidious when I was about 15 or something. My mates made me watch it. I was too scared to watch any horror films. I watched about half of it, as in I was looking at my phone because I didn't have the balls to look at the screen for most of the film. Anyway, I watched it the other day and it was really funny and it was really shit. It was probably one of the worst horror films I've seen recently. Like, it was really just lame. And if I'd looked up at the screen when I was 15, I'd have realised, oh, because I've imagined fucking worse. My imagination was scarier than that shitty film. I would have looked up, seen a goofy Darth Maul and been like, okay, that's the end of it. If you're thinking, oh, Psycho, I've heard of that film, you're thinking of the 60s classic. It says right there, 60s classic. Watch the 60s classic, pay this no heed. I've not seen it, but still, fuck it off. Oh, I was also scared shitless of Chucky, and I watched it fairly recently, Child's Play, to face some demons, and it was a really fun film. It was really funny. So the Arrested Development's the best American comedy on this site. Yeah. Better Call Saul and BoJack Horseman are tied as the best black comedies on the site. See, there's a lot of shows here that I'm yet to check out in this video. The King, The Cock. I feel really good getting all this shit off my chest, because it's what I think when you go through all this. Bruno, really like it. People seem to have put it on this shit level. It is as important as Borat. Born Identity, never cared for that. Hot Fuzz, best film ever made. 10 out of 10. Fucking Kino, perfect editing. There's probably zero flaws apart from these minor continuity things that CinemaSins can fucking get a hard on over, but I don't give a shit. Game Night, wank film, terrible shit film with a bit of style but still just awfully acted and terrible jokes. Big Lebowski, one of the best comedies ever made. I think one of the most chilled out rides of your life. Great night in, great pizza film. Burn After Reading, a lot of people like this Coen Brothers film. I'm not very big on it, but I would still recommend it. Very, very just goofy, zany, but not my favourite Coen Brothers film. Zoolander is obviously shit, but a lot of people like it because they are mentally retarded. Kick-Ass, not that big on it. It's decent, but I always remember it fondly. So, I'll watch Kick-Ass again because that's it's combining two styles. Like, not really. It's just sort of middle of the race. I don't know. Deadpool is kind of lame. Labyrinth, haven't seen it. Truman Show, been so long, but I think it's definitely one to watch. It's one of the best Jim Carrey films. Serious, just because he's serious. But no, he's a very good actor, and this is one of the examples of that. Very good film as well, just regardless in terms of just the concept, on the concept alone. Superbad's pretty good out of all those basic bitch comedies I used to watch when I was 14, 15. Disaster Artist is kind of worthless. Tells a very interesting story, very blandly. The Fighter has been too long, don't really care. Life of Brian, I think everyone's seen that. Kindergarten Cop, that's my mum's favourite. First Man, solid film again. One of those honest, doesn't romanticise the story, the true story that it is telling. One of the good examples of true story films. Very recent. I think it's Dave Chazelle. It might be something else Chazelle, but he did La La Land and Whiplash, which are also very good films. Venom, I watched a bit of Venom ages ago. It was pretty lame from what I saw, really just generic, not worth watching at all. Okay, how many more do I have to do? Okay, this will be pretty good. Okay, Gone Girl, obviously I think everyone's seen that. Woman in the Window, right? It's this kind of Hitchcocking, it's not made by Hitchcock, it's made by a guy called Fritz Lang. It's one of those, I think Criterion, we put it up there. And usually you watch these old films, and because the passable films are forgotten, when you do watch these classics, you usually get like something good out of it. This was fucking awful. Like, it had all the Hitchcock shit and it was like intrigue and stuff or whatever, but it has one of the worst endings I've ever seen. Like, it's probably one of the worst old film noir dramas, suspense thriller kind of things, whatever, that I've ever seen. There's so much sophistication associated with films that are like this old. But every Hitchcock film that I've seen is solid though. I've seen like 16 of those. Nightcrawler, I think everyone's seen that. but it's very good characters. I'm getting bored of myself. True Romance.
Did you know it was a Tarantino film, but it's just he didn't direct it?
Very funny. Lots of huge actors coming in for like 1 or 2 scenes and doing really good performances. Christian Slater, who's my boy, who's my Mr. Robot guy, very good in it. Patricia Arquette. I'm sexist for not remembering her name. She's also very good. It's just a very wholesome little story. All the acting's good. But a couple of years ago, I was kind of a little bit sick of Tarantino, but then I just sort of stopped and said, you know what? You use your style in a lot of necessary ways in your films, and I condone that. You're not exactly a Wes Anderson where it's the same fucking style over him. Scarface, I really like it. A lot of people don't. Scarface is a very pulpy take on the whole rags to riches gangster story, but I think the film's aware of how kind of goofy and cheesy it is. I think Brian De Palma, who made it, was always aware of how silly his films were, but also very well told. Brian De Palma, who was flourishing mostly in the 80s and 70s, I think, mainly the 80s, I think. He was kind of the Hitchcock of the 80s, but with a bit more nudity and stuff, and sexual stuff, and violence, obviously. Anyway, yeah, I'd recommend any Brian De Palma film. Ozark. There are 3 seasons with a 4th season coming. It gets progressively better. Yeah, season 1 is good, intriguing enough. A good amount of stuff happens each episode. Season 2 gets way more stylistic, and Jason Bateman, who is that guy, who is the main guy in it, who's Michael Bluth in Arrested Development. Jason Bateman starts directing episodes in the 2nd season and 3rd season, I think. I like to see him be successful in the artistic manner. But yeah, very good show in terms of just being entertaining. Kind of like Breaking Bad, but focusing a bit more on like the money laundering aspect of that sort of criminal organisation, but in a very interesting way. How many more of these fucking recommendations will I do? I haven't seen Tiger King. Fucking sue me. But I've got 3 slices of pizza left over there. Pretty well cold in a minute. She's Gotta Have It. This is a very good film. It says Black Lives Matter collection. I'm not too concerned with the political side of these things, but I just show me a good film about anything. But this is a very good film pertaining to black culture. It's by Spike Lee. Spike Lee usually is your go-to guy. Yeah, Spike Lee knows exactly what he's doing when it comes to films about the black culture. Spaced is the best British show on this site at the moment. I say that being fully aware that the UK Office and Peep Show is also on here, and I think Flying Circus, okay, maybe not. Creep got me a bit, but I'm fairly easy to get. It's fairly creepy. It's not brilliant. I think, to me, the whole found footage thing isn't overdone because I never watched them in the time where I was supposed to be watching them when I was like younger. So I suppose it isn't as stale for me. But it was all right. It was don't need to watch it. Didn't like Radio Days, Woody Allen film, wanking off, kind of like what Tarantino did, but not as good. Kind of just too Woody Allen, really. But you know, if you like Radio, the history of that. Jurassic Park. I watched Jurassic Park again recently, and it's that film where it says, oh well, it's a bit, it's old, it's overrated, Jurassic Park, oh well, that famous film, it's, but seriously, like, fuck, that's a cool ass movie. Just think of it. There are so few good dinosaur films. It's fucking great. Stop saying dumb shit with these Spielberg classics like they're overrated. You just look at them for being an entertaining action adventure, and they fucking nail it. But you look back at them and think, got to be these grand Kubrickian masterpieces. You don't look at it like that, you fucking trash cunts. That was very good vocabulary. Shutter Island, didn't care for that much. One of the weaker Scorsese films. Pretty boring when you know the twist, in my opinion. Space Jam, watch it. It's a meme of a film. If you're into being a ironic douchebag, watch it. Birdman, maybe one of my favourites of last decade. Kind of perfect acting, perfect. It was the whole like films that kind of just keep going, the continuously shot, or at least seemingly to be that. It was the whole thing. Like, 1917 does the continuous shot. But by 1917, I'm like, okay, this is just a fucking gimmick now, and this isn't like this artistic film. This is a basic-ass war movie. So, but yeah, this used it well before it got fucking stale. Used it authentically, came from a place of creativity rather than just, oh, I'm gonna fucking make this war film, just what a fucking hack. Oh Brother Where Art Thou, another Coen Brothers film, very good. Some people probably find it annoying. It's a very good period piece, very funny. Coen Brothers, again, very stupid characters, but kind of like Big Lebowski. Despite how stupid the characters are, the way they're depicted to be stupid is very smart and clever and nuanced. Social Network, I think everyone's seen that book. Probably the best period piece of the last decade. Uncut Gems, fucking brilliant. I think everyone's seen that. 40 Odd Men, who fucking cares? King Kong. Okay, how many more? I don't know if I'm gonna... I like this film. I thought this was really a lot of fun. It's very long, I don't really care. Peter Jackson, he knows what else to make a good film. People can accuse him of making films that are too long. But really, indulgent I suppose, but all good. Okay, Thunder Road. Thunder Road is a very low budget film, so just take that into account when you watch it, but very wholesome, very funny. It's a black comedy. It'll be in a lot of ways different to a lot of things you've seen. It's its own identity. It's just a very small special movie. I'd recommend that to everyone. Cut it some slack because it has got a lower budget, but it does a lot with a little. It's a very wholesome story. Gerald's Game. I like Gerald's Game a lot. Very, very goofy, very silly, kind of cheesy, but I can't remember the main woman, her name, but she's very good in it. It's my love for Mr. Robot that kind of made me really like this film, because there's a lot of similar things to Mr. Robot that Mr. Robot fans will know, but kind of an alter ego coming in and talking to you, and the alter ego kind of being this badass, this side to you that's like, come on, we're not gonna fucking take this shit, are we? Like the side that everyone needs to embody at some points in their life. It's a badass archetypal representation. I don't know, I just like that shit. Gladiator, not that big on it. It spawned like so many more formulaic sword and sandal biopics, some made by Ridley Scott himself. Yeah, Ridley Scott kind of just churns out these very authentically made period pieces in terms of historical accuracy and like good costumes and big budgets, but they're all just sort of so skippable. It's unfortunate because he's such a talented director, but yeah, and I wasn't huge on this. It's a fairly basic movie in my opinion. Roma, I fucking love Roma. Everything I love about films is in that film, I think, apart from like cool ass action films and Han Solo and all that shit. But just such a good experience and so eye-opening. No, just fucking good. Nothing pseudo-profound, just good. It is profound. It's not pseudo-profound, it's profound. It's so well told, subtle. Tells the story it wants to tell, not what the story that society is like, oh, I need to know. Marriage Story, really like that. Pretty sure everyone's seen it, but yeah, if you like romantic films, this is one of those romantic films that people like me can get behind, just out of the fact that the characters are so well executed. The characterizations of the characters are so well executed. Just such authentic, vigorous, unique, what's the word? Personable characters. What is the word for like very impressionable characters? It's a very emotional film. I think I cried at that moment, you know. I don't think I did. I'm not a pussy hole. I might have a bit. Love and Death. Oh, you can watch it again, of course. So fucking stupid. Love and Death. It's not essential. It's a better Woody Allen film than Radio Days, but it's still not essential. It was very Woody Allen. There's one brilliant joke in it. What is it? He's trying to sleep with this woman, and she says to him, "Sex without love is an empty act." He goes, "Yeah, I agree, but as empty acts go, it's one of the best." But I just thought that was a really funny joke. Anyway, Midnight Cowboy, very good film. One of those ones that just depicts a dark side of certain parts of America's history in terms of the New York scene in the 60s, which I only know because I just looked at when it was made, because obviously it couldn't be in the 70s because it was just 69. No, but very documentary style, very in the gutter, you're in the shit with them. It's not like bullshitting you. You can feel how dirty the characters are and how deprived they are of basic living. I can't remember exactly it's just a fairly loose story. It's just them trying to survive in the world in New York City, because New York was a shithole in those days, and I love films about how shit New York was. Beautiful Mind, not big on A Beautiful Mind, it's one of my mum's favourites though, so okay, I'm done with this. BoJack Horseman's, yeah, I've already said. Raid 2, best action film of the last decade. Your Name, very good anime. If you can, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to watch it with subtitles instead of an English dub, because I actually kind of thought it was fairly shit because of the English dub. Well, I just thought that the dialogue was awful, but I kind of didn't realise how dubbing works and how it would obviously sound different when spoken in Japanese. Yeah, it doesn't always translate well when just directly translated to English. It's kind of just a hack way of doing it. Oh, I'm saying hack a lot because I'm a film guy. Being perks of being a wallflower. It's okay, I don't know, it's probably like... Yeah, exactly, nothing to call home about. One of those relatable, emotional teen dramas. Upgrades a decent action film. Watchmen, I don't give a shit. Okay, I'm stopping this now.
We took the shot from here.
Shut up.